Hello friends, Charizze here. I'm back again with another Charizze Treats video. It is day 4 of the series and today I'm going to be doing a review of your Bujo dot grid notebook with pen and paint tests. They kindly sent me this beautiful olive green notebook to try out. With that said, it will not affect my opinion at all. It will be 100% my own. So if you're curious about how this notebook performs, or if you're in search of the bullet journal that meets your preferences, then let's take a look. Your Bujo is based in Germany and their journals are exclusively made there as well. This brand is highly focused in creating eco-friendly and sustainable journals. I received this without any plastic in the packaging. It did came in a tissue paper but was in a torn state. But it is nice that the journal is in good shape throughout the shipment. It also has a belly band where you can see the main features of the notebook on the front and a sweet note on the back from the owner herself. Their dotted journals have linen hard covers and are available in 3 colors at the moment: olive green, beige, and rose. The design is very minimalist, but you also have the option to personalize the front cover by having your name, a word, or a phrase that you liked debossed on it in gold foil. The personalization is for maximum of 12 characters and available in 2 font options. They also have their 3-dot logo on the bottom right. Turning it a bit over, there is a black pen holder and a neat back cover. There is a matching color elastic band to nicely enclose the notebook as well. Now let's take a look on the inside. When you first open the notebook, there is an introduction page that is pretty much present in most notebooks as a space to write your name and contact information in case you lost it. It is straightforward. There are no pre-made pages. And then there is one green ribbon bookmark. Some of you might need 2 or more bookmarks, but if one is enough, then this would be perfect. And then the standard back pocket. It also has a lay flat binding which makes it easy to write on. The notebook has 150 GSM paper, but they mentioned that it behaves like 180 GSM due to its volume, so we shall see later on the pen and paint tests. There are 176 dot grid pages and no page numbers. The dots are 5 millimeters. It has white pages, but I want to show you a quick comparison with white page dot grid notebooks I currently have. As you can see, Your Bujo has a bit of a warm tone than the other notebooks, but it's not cream either. I think it's similar to a standard printer paper. The whiteness of the paper is actually good, knowing that they are recycled and made of 100% secondary fibers. I wish I could show you a better close-up look of the pages. You can tell that they are really recycled because you can actually see subtle dusty look on the paper. When it comes to the size of the journal, they are available in A5 at the moment, but to also compare it with other A5 notebooks, Your Bujo is a centimeter longer and wider. So here comes the important part of the review, which is the pen and paint tests, a very helpful step to determine what kinds of markers or pens, which inks get absorbed quickly and does not smudge or bleed through the page. And that goes for paints for some of you who likes to paint in their bullet journal as well. Let's test the paper with pens first. I'll only be testing varieties of pens and markers that are currently lying around my desk, starting with a fountain pen. I'm testing this green fountain pen ink from Ferris Wheel Press. As I started writing, I noticed the paper itself has a smooth surface, which is really nice. And I'm also impressed that the ink did not feather. I tested a couple of fine liners as well, especially the Sakura Pigmamicron that I use a lot in my bullet journal. A lot of us use brush pens too, like the Tombow Vodenosuke for some calligraphy, and several colored brush pens such as Tombow ABT, Sakura Koi, Eco Line, and Crayola Super Tips. I'm really curious about the Eco line because they are the juiciest brush pens I've ever tried, but I regret forgetting testing out these markers in multiple layers to see how the paper reacts to repeated brush strokes. Anyway, I'm also testing some gel pens. I tried the yellow Sakura Souffle gel pen. I like to use this on a black paper because it gives a glow effect, but that's how it looks on a white paper. And then we also have white gel pens like the Jelly Roll and Uniball Signo. I use this a lot when covering up mistakes, so this is to see if they blend well with the page. I noticed that the Jelly Roll is slightly more visible than the Uniball Signo. And then next, we are testing metallic pens. I have the Pilot Juice gel pen in gold and Uniposca gold marker that has a thick nib. And then an acrylic paint pen. I'm testing the Archer and Olive acrylograph pen. Like most of the notebooks, alcohol markers are not recommended to use, but we're still going to test it out here to see if this has a better paper that allow alcohol-based markers to write on without bleeding through. And before we move on to the paints, I'm doing a smudge test to see how fast the paper can absorb the ink. As you might know, I have sweaty palms, so I really wanted something that doesn't smudge when writing. So I'm testing the black inks as well as the fountain pen ink in 3 different intervals: 1 second, 5 seconds, and 10 seconds. The 1 second interval obviously smudged a lot. The 5 to 10 has slight smudges. I think the fact that my finger has a little moisture might also reactivate the dried ink in 10 seconds. But now it's time to test some paints. First, I'm testing out the Royal Talents watercolor, and I always want to do this with 3 levels of wetness to see how the paper holds up, starting with a very little amount of water that is almost dry and very pigmented. And then adding more water to the second one, and this time I'm also doing a gradient swatch. Lastly is the wettest, having lots of water on my brush. I also like to use gouache in my bullet journal, so I will be testing them here as well. These are very opaque paints and I use them a lot in my illustrations. And finally is a test for gold watercolor. I just painted a thick, long strip just like the gouache test. Now that everything is dry, let's flip the page and see the results. The only thing that bled through the page is the Copic sketch marker, which is an alcohol-based marker. And it's not surprising at all because it is not designed for this kind of paper. There was one particular notebook I tested before that actually handled it, but I don't think they are still in the market. I'm leaving my notebook review playlist here on the cards and description box so you can check them out later. Other than that, there were no ghosting on the page from the rest of the pens and markers I used. There were no bleed-throughs on the paints, especially on the wettest area, which is amazing since the paper is only 150 GSM. but there are noticeable wrinkling on the page, which is kind of normal too, even on 160 GSM paper. Personally, even though I like to use paints on 160 GSM paper, I would still recommend to be conservative with the amount of water you're using when painting, because this paper is not watercolor paper, so always keep in mind how much water you can use. Overall, this notebook performed really well. It ticked most of the boxes in my notebook preferences. I love how the paper handled the pens and markers and paints. The biggest point for me is that this journal has 100% recycled paper, and I really appreciate their effort and commitment to the environment. In terms of the price, it is sold for 38 and 50 euros and an additional of 4 and 50 euros for personalization, so it's on the higher side. But they also provided me a discount code Charizze10 for 10% off to share with you if you're interested to try their journals and support an eco-friendly business. I am doing a giveaway with Your Bujo in this video, so check out the description box on how to enter. All the giveaway details and rules are listed there, so good luck to everyone participating. And we've come to the end of this review. I hope it was helpful and informative. I would also want to hear your thoughts about this bullet journal in the comments. Thank you so much for watching today's Charizze Treats video. Have a lovely day, and I will see you on my next one. Bye everyone!